Every spring and summer, in gardens, forests, meadows, and quiet backyards all around the world, a small creature begins a journey so extraordinary that, if we didn't witness it with our own eyes, it would be difficult to believe it could ever happen. A tiny caterpillar crawls slowly across the edge of a leaf, stopping every few moments to take another bite. It spends its days doing little more than eating, growing, and searching for the next fresh patch of green. There is nothing about its appearance that hints at what is to come. It has no wings. It cannot fly. It moves only a few inches at a time, carrying its soft, segmented body through a world that must seem unimaginably large. To most of us, it appears to be one of the simplest creatures in nature. But hidden inside that tiny body is one of the greatest transformations in the entire animal kingdom. Within a matter of weeks, this slow-moving insect will disappear completely from the world. It will seal itself inside a quiet chrysalis, hanging motionless from a branch while everything around it continues as normal. Birds will continue singing overhead. Rain will fall. The wind will gently move the leaves. Days will pass without any visible sign that something extraordinary is happening inside. And yet, beneath that smooth outer shell, one of nature's most astonishing stories is quietly unfolding. For centuries, people believed this transformation was almost magical. Ancient cultures saw butterflies as symbols of rebirth, renewal, and even the human soul. It is easy to understand why. A creature that crawls into a silent cocoon somehow emerges with brightly colored wings, capable of soaring through the sky as though it had always belonged there. Even today, after centuries of scientific discovery, the process feels almost impossible. Surely the caterpillar simply grows wings over time. But that isn't what happens. The truth is far stranger. In many species of butterflies, the caterpillar doesn't simply change its shape. Much of its body is broken down and rebuilt. Not piece by piece. Not little by little. Almost from the inside out. The creature that enters the chrysalis and the butterfly that eventually emerges share the same DNA, yet their bodies are so dramatically different that they scarcely resemble one another at all. One spends its life crawling across leaves, equipped with powerful jaws designed for eating. The other sips nectar through a long, delicate feeding tube while drifting effortlessly between flowers. One has dozens of tiny legs gripping stems and branches. The other flies using for intricate wings covered in thousands upon thousands of microscopic scales, each reflecting light in ways that create some of the most beautiful colors found anywhere in nature. It almost feels as though nature has created two completely different animals, and somehow connected them through a single life. To understand how such an incredible transformation is possible, we have to begin much earlier, before there is a caterpillar at all. Our story begins on the underside of a quiet green leaf, where a butterfly, after traveling through fields of wildflowers beneath the warm afternoon sun, finally comes to rest. She moves carefully across the leaf's surface, tasting it with tiny sensory organs on her feet. To us, every leaf may appear almost identical, but to her they are worlds apart. She must choose exactly the right plant, because when her young hatch, they will have no time to search for food. Their very first meal will be the leaf they are born upon. With remarkable precision, she gently lays a cluster of tiny eggs no larger than the head of a pin before lifting gracefully back into the air. For days, the eggs remain almost perfectly still. Inside each one, however, life is already taking shape. Cells divide over and over again with astonishing speed, following instructions written within strands of DNA that have been passed from one generation to the next for millions of years. Slowly, a tiny caterpillar begins forming inside its delicate shell. It develops simple eyes capable of detecting light, powerful jaws perfectly designed for chewing leaves, tiny legs for gripping branches, and a digestive system with one overwhelming purpose: to eat. Because once it enters the world, everything about its life will revolve around a single goal: growing large enough to become something entirely different. For the first few days after hatching, the caterpillar is almost unimaginably small. Its entire world extends no farther than the leaf on which it was born, yet everything it needs for survival is already within reach. The first thing it does may come as a surprise. Before taking a single bite of the leaf beneath it, many caterpillars begin by eating the eggshell they have just emerged from. Rich in proteins, minerals, and valuable nutrients, the shell provides an important first meal before they turn their attention to the plant itself. It is nature's way of ensuring that nothing useful is wasted. Only after finishing this tiny meal does the caterpillar begin what will become one of the most relentless feeding schedules in the animal kingdom. If there is one word that defines the life of a caterpillar, it is hunger. Unlike the graceful butterfly it will eventually become, whose primary role is reproduction and pollination, the caterpillar exists almost entirely to grow. From sunrise until long after the evening light has faded, it crawls from one patch of leaf to the next, cutting away tiny pieces with powerful jaws that are perfectly adapted for chewing tough plant tissue. It pauses only briefly before taking another bite, then another, and another still. To us, the damage appears insignificant, but when multiplied by thousands of caterpillars across a forest or meadow, these tiny insects consume astonishing amounts of vegetation every year. Entire leaves disappear, reduced to delicate skeletons of veins that hint at the feast that has taken place. This constant feeding fuels one of the fastest periods of growth found anywhere in nature. Some species increase their body mass by more than 1,000 times in only a few weeks. Imagine if a human baby were born weighing 7 pounds and reached the size of a blue whale before its first birthday. The comparison sounds absurd, yet relative to their size, many caterpillars accomplish something even more extraordinary. Every mouthful of leaf is converted into new muscle, new tissue, and the enormous energy reserves that will soon be needed for the most dramatic transformation of their lives. Growing so quickly presents an unexpected problem. Unlike our skin, which stretches as we grow, the caterpillar's outer covering is made from a tough material called chitin, the same substance that forms the exoskeletons of beetles, crabs, and countless other invertebrates. Chitin is remarkably strong and lightweight, providing excellent protection against the outside world, but it has one major limitation. It cannot stretch. Eventually the caterpillar becomes so large that its own skin begins to feel like clothing several sizes too small. Continuing to grow inside it simply isn't possible. Rather than allowing this rigid shell to expand, evolution found a different solution. Hidden beneath the old outer layer, the caterpillar has already begun growing a new one. When the time is right, hormones trigger an extraordinary process known as molting. The old skin splits open, usually along the back, and the caterpillar slowly pulls itself free. For a short time, its new outer covering remains soft and flexible, allowing the body to expand before the fresh exoskeleton hardens into place. Over the course of its short life, a caterpillar may repeat this process 4 or 5 times, each stage known as an instar. With every molt, it emerges slightly larger, slightly stronger, and one step closer to the mysterious transformation waiting ahead. As the days pass, another remarkable process is quietly unfolding beneath the surface, one that scientists didn't fully understand until relatively recently. While the caterpillar spends nearly every waking moment eating leaves, hidden inside its body are tiny clusters of cells known as imaginal discs. They are so small that they seem almost insignificant, tucked away among the muscles and organs of the growing insect. Yet these tiny structures contain the blueprint for an entirely different body. Some will eventually become delicate wings covered in thousands of microscopic scales. Others will form the butterfly's compound eyes, its long-coiled feeding tube called a proboscis, slender antennae capable of detecting scents carried on the breeze, and graceful legs designed not for gripping leaves but for landing softly on flowers. Perhaps the most astonishing part is that these structures have been there all along. Even as the caterpillar devours leaf after leaf, carrying on what appears to be a simple and uneventful life, the foundation of the butterfly is already quietly waiting inside it. The caterpillar has no idea that it is carrying the plans for an entirely different existence. It simply continues eating, growing, and preparing for a future it cannot possibly understand. Eventually, however, something begins to change. The endless hunger starts to fade. Leaves that once seemed irresistible are left untouched. The caterpillar wanders farther than usual, no longer searching for food but for something else entirely. It climbs slowly along stems and branches, exploring the world with surprising determination. To an outside observer, it might seem restless, almost as though it has forgotten the one task that has occupied every day of its life. But in reality, this quiet search is one of the most important journeys it will ever undertake. Somewhere nearby, it must find the perfect place to disappear. The search for that perfect place is surprisingly deliberate. Although a caterpillar has spent its entire life moving from one leaf to the next with little apparent purpose beyond eating, this final journey is different. Every instinct now guides it toward a location that offers just the right balance of shelter, stability, and protection. It may choose the underside of a sturdy branch, the stem of a tall plant, the edge of a fence, or even the wall of a quiet building. Once it has found a suitable spot, it begins spinning a tiny pad of silk, no larger than a coin, anchoring it securely to the surface beneath. This silk is incredibly strong for its size, produced by specialized glands near the caterpillar's mouth. Unlike the webs of spiders, it is not intended to catch prey. Instead, it serves as a lifeline for one of the most extraordinary events in nature. With remarkable precision, the caterpillar hooks the tiny appendages at the end of its abdomen into the silk pad and hangs upside down in the shape of a gentle J. To anyone passing by, it appears as though the little insect has simply stopped moving. Hours pass. Sometimes an entire day goes by. The forest continues carrying on around it. Birds sing overhead, breezes ripple through the leaves, and sunlight slowly gives way to evening before returning again the following morning. The caterpillar remains perfectly still, conserving energy as an invisible countdown quietly unfolds within its body. Then, almost without warning, the transformation begins. The caterpillar's skin starts to split just behind its head, much like it had during each of its previous molts. At first, it seems as though this will simply be another ordinary shedding of its outer layer. But this time something entirely different is waiting underneath. As the old skin gradually peels away, a smooth, jade-green chrysalis is revealed beneath it. Through carefully coordinated movements, the caterpillar wriggles free from its final larval skin until the empty shell falls away, leaving behind a motionless chrysalis hanging delicately from its silken anchor. This moment lasts only a few minutes. Yet it marks one of the greatest turning points in the life of any animal. From the outside, everything suddenly becomes quiet. There are no visible wings growing, no legs stretching longer, no slow reshaping that our eyes can follow. For days, sometimes weeks depending on the species and the temperature, the chrysalis appears almost lifeless. It sways gently with the breeze like a small leaf, giving little hint of the astonishing activity taking place within. If you didn't know better, you might assume that nothing at all was happening. For centuries, people imagined the butterfly simply slept inside its chrysalis while new body parts gradually formed. It seemed like the most reasonable explanation. After all, what else could be happening behind that smooth protective shell? The truth is far more astonishing. Inside the chrysalis, many of the tissues that made up the caterpillar begin to break down. Specialized cells release enzymes that digest much of the larval body, reducing muscles, digestive organs, and other structures into a nutrient-rich mixture that scientists sometimes describe as a cellular soup. Although the phrase sounds dramatic, it captures an important reality. The caterpillar is not simply adding wings to its existing body. Much of its old anatomy is being carefully dismantled so that something entirely new can be built in its place. But despite how incredible this sounds, the caterpillar is not completely dissolved, nor does it somehow cease to exist. Hidden safely within that transforming body are the imaginal discs that had been quietly waiting since the caterpillar first hatched from its egg. Throughout its life they remain small and largely inactive, almost like folded architectural blueprints tucked away for the future. Now, surrounded by the nutrients released from the dissolving larval tissues, they suddenly awaken. Each imaginal disc knows exactly what it is meant to become. One begins unfolding into an intricate wing filled with delicate veins that will eventually carry blood-like fluid through its paper-thin surface. Another develops into a compound eye containing thousands of tiny lenses, allowing the future butterfly to detect movement and vibrant colors invisible to human vision. Others shape slender legs, elegant antennae, and the long coiled proboscis that will replace the caterpillar's powerful chewing jaws. Guided entirely by instructions encoded within its DNA, billions of cells divide, migrate, and organize themselves with extraordinary precision, constructing a completely different animal from materials that only days earlier had belonged to a crawling leaf-eater. Perhaps the most astonishing discovery of all is that this rebuilding process is so carefully controlled that scientists are still uncovering its secrets today. Every cell somehow knows where it belongs. Every tissue develops at precisely the right moment. Tiny chemical signals flow throughout the chrysalis like invisible conversations, telling some cells to divide, others to stop growing, and still others to specialize into scales, muscles, nerves, or organs. It is a masterpiece of biological engineering unfolding in complete silence, hidden inside a shell no larger than your thumb. And while all of this is happening, something equally remarkable may be occurring within the butterfly's nervous system. For many years, scientists assumed that the caterpillar's brain was completely rebuilt during metamorphosis, erasing any trace of its previous life. But a series of fascinating experiments began to challenge that idea. Researchers trained caterpillars to associate certain smells with mild, unpleasant experiences. After those caterpillars completed metamorphosis and emerged as butterflies, they were tested again. To everyone's surprise, many of them still remembered. It suggested that at least some memories survive one of the most dramatic transformations in the animal kingdom. Even as the body is rebuilt almost from the inside out, fragments of experience may continue into the butterfly's new life, carried forward through a process that scientists are only beginning to understand. It is a remarkable thought. Somewhere inside that quiet chrysalis, a creature is not only building new wings. It may also be carrying pieces of its past into an entirely different future. Eventually, after days or even weeks hidden safely inside the chrysalis, the transformation begins reaching its final stage. Although everything has appeared perfectly still from the outside, the butterfly inside has been changing continuously. Its muscles have strengthened, its wings have formed, its eyes have developed, and the last traces of its caterpillar body have been carefully recycled into something entirely new. Then, almost imperceptibly at first, the chrysalis itself begins to change. The vibrant green shell that once concealed everything within slowly becomes darker and more transparent. In some species, the intricate patterns of folded wings can actually be seen through the thin outer casing. It is nature's quiet way of revealing that the journey is almost complete. At just the right moment, the butterfly begins pushing gently against the walls that have protected it throughout its transformation. Unlike a chick hatching from an egg, it receives no help from the outside world. Every movement must come from its own newly developed muscles. Tiny cracks begin spreading across the chrysalis until a small opening appears near the top. Slowly, almost impossibly slowly, the butterfly works its way free. The process requires tremendous effort, and to anyone watching, it may seem as though the insect is struggling unnecessarily. It can take an hour or more for the butterfly to completely emerge, carefully pulling each leg, antenna, and finally its crumpled wings from the empty shell. It is at this point that many people are tempted to help. Seeing the butterfly labor so intensely, it feels natural to imagine that gently widening the opening or pulling away the chrysalis would make its first moments easier. Yet biologists have learned that this struggle is one of the most important parts of the butterfly's life. As it squeezes through the narrow opening, pressure inside its body forces a fluid called hemolymph through an intricate network of tiny veins running throughout the folded wings. Like an artist slowly inflating an elaborate paper sculpture, the butterfly pumps this fluid outward until each wing gradually unfolds to its full size. Without this difficult process, the wings may never expand properly, leaving the butterfly unable to fly. What appears to us as an obstacle is, in reality, an essential part of its development. Even after emerging, the butterfly cannot immediately take to the sky. It clings quietly to the empty chrysalis while its wings remain soft, damp, and slightly wrinkled. Over the next several hours, sunlight and air gradually dry them as the delicate membranes harden into lightweight structures strong enough to support flight. Looking closely, Each wing is covered by tens of thousands of microscopic scales arranged with astonishing precision. These scales are responsible for the brilliant blues, fiery oranges, shimmering greens, and velvety blacks that have fascinated people for centuries. In some species, the colors come from pigments much like paint. In others, there are no pigments at all. Instead, the scales contain microscopic ridges that bend and scatter light in extraordinary ways, creating vivid colors through physics rather than chemistry. The dazzling blue of a morpho butterfly, for example, is not truly blue in the traditional sense. It is created by tiny nanostructures so small that they manipulate light itself, producing an iridescent glow that shifts as the butterfly moves through the forest. When the wings have finally hardened, the butterfly loosens its grip and lifts gently into the air for the very first time. Only days earlier, this same creature had spent its life crawling slowly across leaves, unable to travel more than a few feet without stopping to eat. Now it glides effortlessly above flowers, streams, and fields, navigating an entirely different world from the one it knew as a caterpillar. Its diet has changed completely as well. The powerful chewing jaws that once consumed leaves have vanished, replaced by a long, coiled proboscis that functions almost like a drinking straw. Rather than chewing plants, the butterfly now sips nectar from flowers, helping pollinate countless species as it travels from blossom to blossom. In a single transformation, nearly every aspect of its life has been rewritten. Some butterflies embark on journeys that seem almost impossible for such delicate creatures. Perhaps the most famous is the monarch butterfly, whose migration spans thousands of miles across North America. Each autumn, millions of monarchs begin flying south toward the forests of central Mexico, where they gather in enormous numbers on the branches of oyamel fir trees. The truly astonishing part is that no single butterfly completes the entire yearly cycle. The individuals that return north in spring are the descendants of those that made the journey south months before. Generation after generation continues a migration that none of them has personally experienced, guided by instincts encoded within their genes and subtle cues from the position of the sun, Earth's magnetic field, and the changing length of daylight. Even after decades of research, scientists are still uncovering how these tiny insects accomplish navigational feats that rival those of much larger animals. The butterfly's transformation has inspired human imagination for thousands of years, and it is easy to understand why. Ancient Greeks used the same word, psyche, to describe both the butterfly and the soul. Across Asia, Europe, Africa, and the Americas, butterflies have appeared in stories about renewal, hope, change, and the continuation of life. Long before microscopes allowed us to peer inside a chrysalis, people sensed that something deeply symbolic was taking place. Watching an earthbound caterpillar emerge as a graceful butterfly seemed to capture the idea that profound change could occur quietly, hidden from view, long before anyone else could see its results. Perhaps what makes metamorphosis so captivating is not simply that it happens, but that it reminds us how many of nature's greatest transformations unfold in complete silence. Beneath the surface of a forest floor, seeds slowly become towering trees. Deep beneath the oceans, tiny coral animals spend centuries building reefs large enough to be seen from space. Far inside distant clouds of gas and dust, new stars quietly take shape over millions of years before their light ever reaches us. Again and again, the natural world teaches the same gentle lesson. The most extraordinary changes are often the ones we never witness while they are happening. We see only the beginning and the end, while the remarkable story in between unfolds patiently, hidden from sight. Although butterflies often receive most of the attention, they represent only half of an even larger story. Around the world there are more than 180,000 known species of butterflies and moths, and together they make up one of the most successful groups of insects ever to evolve. While butterflies spend their days drifting through meadows beneath bright sunlight, most moths quietly take over the night. As evening falls and the last butterflies settle beneath leaves to rest, countless moths emerge from tree bark, hollow logs, and hidden corners of the forest. Guided by moonlight, starlight, and senses so sensitive they can detect the faintest chemical traces carried on the wind, they begin pollinating flowers that open only after dark. Many of these plants rely almost entirely on nighttime visitors, meaning that while we sleep, an invisible world of pollination quietly unfolds beneath the stars. The relationship between caterpillars, butterflies, and flowering plants is one of the finest examples of coevolution found anywhere in nature. For well over 100 million years, as flowering plants spread across the earth, insects evolved alongside them in an extraordinary partnership. Flowers developed brilliant colors, sweet fragrances, and nectar-filled blossoms that attracted pollinators. Butterflies evolved long feeding tubes capable of reaching deep into those flowers, collecting nectar while unknowingly carrying pollen from one bloom to the next. Neither organism consciously intended to help the other, yet over millions of generations both slowly changed together, each shaping the future of the other through countless tiny evolutionary steps. Today, many of the colorful wildflower meadows we enjoy exist because of these ancient partnerships, and countless butterflies survive because those flowers continue producing the food they have depended on for millions of years. Of course, the journey from egg to butterfly is far from guaranteed. Nature can be breathtakingly beautiful, but it is also incredibly challenging. A single butterfly may lay hundreds of eggs during her lifetime, yet only a small fraction will ever complete the full transformation. Birds search tirelessly through leaves for protein-rich caterpillars to feed their young. Tiny parasitic wasps carefully place their own eggs inside unsuspecting caterpillars, where their developing larvae quietly grow. Spiders stretch delicate webs between branches, while sudden storms, changing temperatures, and disease claim countless others. Every butterfly drifting peacefully across a summer meadow has survived a remarkable series of challenges that began long before it ever opened its wings. This constant pressure has produced some of the most astonishing survival strategies in the insect world. Many caterpillars bear intricate patterns that make them look almost identical to bird droppings, allowing predators to overlook them completely. Others resemble twigs so perfectly that even experienced naturalists sometimes struggle to spot them among real branches. Some species develop false eyes large enough to startle birds into believing they have encountered a much larger animal, while others store chemicals from poisonous plants within their own bodies, making them distasteful to predators throughout both their caterpillar and butterfly stages. Bright warning colors often serve as an honest advertisement, quietly announcing that a butterfly is not worth eating. Even more remarkable, harmless species sometimes evolve to imitate these dangerous butterflies so convincingly that predators avoid them as well, creating one of evolution's most elegant forms of deception. Scientists continue uncovering remarkable details about these insects every year. High-speed cameras have revealed that butterfly wings do far more than simply flap up and down. Tiny vortices of swirling air form around their wings with each beat, creating lift in ways that engineers are only beginning to fully understand. Materials scientists study butterfly scales to design more efficient solar panels, anti-counterfeiting technology, and advanced optical materials that manipulate light without using pigments. Robotics researchers look to butterflies for inspiration when designing lightweight flying machines capable of navigating complex environments. Time and again, one of nature's smallest creatures becomes a teacher, quietly offering solutions to problems humans are only now beginning to solve. Perhaps that is one of the most wonderful aspects of science. The closer we look at ordinary things, the less ordinary they become. A caterpillar crossing a garden path may seem almost insignificant, something easy to overlook during a walk outside. Yet inside that tiny body is an intricate biological masterpiece shaped by hundreds of millions of years of evolution. Within its cells are instructions detailed enough to build two completely different bodies during a single lifetime. Hidden inside its transformation are answers to questions about genetics, development, memory, materials science, aerodynamics, and even the future of medicine. What first appears to be a simple insect slowly reveals itself as one of nature's greatest engineers. The next time you notice a caterpillar inching patiently along the edge of a leaf, it may be worth pausing for just a moment. Rather than seeing a small insect on its way to becoming a butterfly, you might instead see a story that has already begun unfolding long before your eyes arrived. Inside that tiny creature rests the blueprint for an entirely different life, one that neither you nor the caterpillar can yet see. Hidden beneath its familiar appearance is a transformation already quietly preparing itself, waiting patiently for the right time to begin. And perhaps that is one of the most comforting lessons nature has to offer. Sometimes the most extraordinary changes are already underway long before they become visible to anyone else. One of the most fascinating discoveries in recent years is that metamorphosis may offer scientists clues far beyond the world of insects. Every time a caterpillar transforms, it performs an astonishing feat of biological engineering. Entire tissues are dismantled, recycled, and rebuilt with remarkable precision, yet the finished butterfly still emerges as the same individual organism. It has not become a different creature. Somehow, throughout all of this extraordinary reconstruction, the body maintains its identity. Developmental biologists spend countless hours studying this process because understanding how living cells know when to divide, where to move, and what structures to build could one day help us better understand wound healing, birth defects, tissue regeneration, and perhaps even certain forms of disease. Nature has been solving these complex biological puzzles for hundreds of millions of years, and every chrysalis quietly contains lessons that scientists are only beginning to uncover. Even the butterfly's wings continue revealing new secrets the closer we examine them. To us they appear almost impossibly delicate, yet under a microscope they resemble vast landscapes covered with overlapping scales arranged in astonishingly precise patterns. Each individual scale is smaller than the width of a human hair, yet together they create the brilliant colors and intricate markings that make butterflies some of the most recognizable insects on Earth. Some species achieve their dazzling appearance using pigments, much like paint on a canvas. Others rely on something even more remarkable. Their scales contain microscopic ridges and layers that bend, scatter, and reflect light in very specific ways, producing shimmering blues and iridescent greens that seem to change as the butterfly moves. In these cases, the color does not exist within the scales themselves. It is created entirely by the interaction between light and structures so tiny that they approach the limits of what the human eye can perceive. Engineers have spent years studying these natural optical designs in hopes of creating better displays, more efficient solar technologies, and materials that remain brilliantly colored without ever fading. As extraordinary as butterflies are, they also remind us of something else that often goes unnoticed in nature. We tend to celebrate the final result while overlooking the long journey that made it possible. When someone sees a butterfly drifting peacefully across a field of wildflowers, it is easy to admire its graceful flight without ever imagining the weeks it spent crawling through the undergrowth, endlessly eating leaves, shedding its skin, avoiding predators, and eventually hanging motionless inside a chrysalis while its entire body was quietly transformed. The beauty we notice lasted only because of all the unseen work that came before it. Nature seems to repeat this lesson again and again. Great oak trees spend decades growing before they provide shade to future generations. Coral reefs are built one tiny animal at a time over thousands of years. Mountains rise so slowly that entire civilizations can come and go before their shape changes in any noticeable way. Even the stars above us spend millions of years forming inside enormous clouds of gas before they shine for the first time. Again and again, the natural world reminds us that the most remarkable outcomes rarely happen all at once. They are built patiently, through countless small steps that are almost invisible while they are taking place. Perhaps that is one of the reasons butterflies have fascinated humanity for so long. Their transformation is one of the few examples where nature briefly allows us to witness this hidden process. Most change in the natural world happens too slowly for us to appreciate, but the caterpillar compresses an extraordinary story into just a few weeks. It allows us to see that growth is not always obvious from the outside. Sometimes the most important changes happen in quiet places, hidden from view, long before they are visible to anyone else. And perhaps that is why people across so many different cultures have chosen the butterfly as a symbol of hope, renewal, and new beginnings. Long before biology explained imaginal discs, hormones, and cellular remodeling, people instinctively understood that they were witnessing something extraordinary. They didn't know how the transformation worked, but they recognized what it represented. A small creature that once spent its days crawling through the grass could emerge into an entirely different world, seeing flowers from above rather than below, traveling miles instead of inches, and experiencing a life that would have been impossible to imagine only weeks before. The science behind metamorphosis does not make that transformation any less magical. If anything, it makes it even more astonishing. The more we learn about genetics, cell biology, evolution, and development, the more incredible the butterfly becomes. What once seemed like a simple change of appearance is revealed to be one of the most sophisticated biological processes on our planet, carried out flawlessly by a creature weighing less than a paperclip. Somewhere tonight, as the sun sets and the forests grow quiet, thousands of caterpillars are hanging silently beneath leaves and branches. To anyone walking past, they appear perfectly still, almost forgotten among the shadows. Yet inside each tiny chrysalis, billions of cells are working together in complete harmony, building wings that have never flown, eyes that have never seen the world from above, and a future that has not yet begun. It is a quiet reminder that even in the smallest corners of nature, extraordinary stories are unfolding every moment, whether we are there to witness them or not. As our journey slowly comes to an end, the butterfly has already disappeared beyond the meadow. It drifts effortlessly from one flower to the next, carried gently by the warm afternoon air, never revealing the extraordinary story hidden behind its delicate wings. To anyone passing by, it is simply another butterfly floating peacefully through the garden. Most people admire its colors for only a moment before continuing on with their day. Few ever stop to consider the remarkable life that came before. The weeks spent patiently eating leaves. The countless times it shed its skin as it quietly grew. The long search for the perfect branch. The silent days hanging motionless inside a chrysalis while an entirely new body slowly took shape, hidden from the world. None of that work was visible. The most extraordinary part of the journey happened where no one could see it. Perhaps that is one of nature's most comforting lessons. So many of the greatest transformations in our world happen quietly. A seed buried beneath the forest floor spends months developing roots before a single green shoot reaches the sunlight. A glacier slowly carves an entire valley over thousands of years without making a sound. Deep beneath the ocean, tiny coral animals patiently build reefs that one day become home to thousands of other species. High above us, clouds of gas drift through space for millions of years before collapsing into new stars whose light may eventually cross the universe. Again and again, nature reminds us that growth is rarely dramatic while it is happening. It is patient, steady, almost invisible. Only when we look back do we realize how extraordinary the journey truly was. Perhaps that is why butterflies have captured the human imagination for thousands of years. Long before microscopes revealed imaginal discs or scientists understood the remarkable choreography of cells inside a chrysalis, people sensed that this tiny insect represented something much larger than itself. It became a symbol of hope, renewal, resilience, and new beginnings because, in many ways, its story reflects the rhythm of the natural world itself. Everything changes. Everything grows. Everything is constantly becoming something new. And perhaps that is what makes science so endlessly fascinating. Every time we believe we have explained something, we discover that the truth is even more beautiful than the mystery that first inspired us. Learning that a caterpillar doesn't simply grow wings but carefully rebuilds much of its body from the inside out does not diminish the wonder of metamorphosis. It deepens it. Understanding how microscopic scales bend light to create brilliant colors does not make a butterfly less beautiful. It makes every fluttering wing feel like a masterpiece of engineering shaped over hundreds of millions of years. The closer we look at nature, the more extraordinary ordinary things become. A quiet walk through a garden is no longer just a walk. A butterfly resting on a flower is no longer just an insect. Even the smallest caterpillar crossing a leaf carries within it the blueprint for an entirely different life, patiently waiting for the right moment to unfold. Somewhere tonight, as daylight slowly fades and the evening grows quiet, countless chrysalises hang unnoticed beneath leaves, branches, and garden fences all around the world. Hidden inside each one, millions of tiny cells continue their silent work. Wings are forming. Eyes are developing. Delicate scales are arranging themselves one by one with astonishing precision. Tomorrow, or perhaps next week, another butterfly will emerge into the morning light, beginning a journey that started long before anyone noticed it was there. Most of us will never see that moment. But it will happen anyway, just as it has for millions upon millions of years. There is something deeply peaceful about knowing that while we sleep, the natural world never stops creating. Forests continue growing beneath the stars. Flowers quietly close for the night before opening again with the sunrise. Rivers continue their endless journey toward the sea. And somewhere in the darkness, a tiny caterpillar is becoming a butterfly, carrying forward one of the oldest and most beautiful stories life has ever written. Thank you for joining me on tonight's journey into one of nature's greatest transformations. I hope that the next time you see a butterfly dancing through the summer air, you'll pause for just a moment and remember the incredible story hidden behind those delicate wings, a story of patience, resilience, and quiet change that has been unfolding on our planet for more than 100 million years. Until our next adventure together, sleep well, stay curious, and may your dreams be as peaceful as a butterfly drifting gently through a field of wildflowers beneath the morning sun.